The prohibition of usury comes directly from the Quran. It actually went through 4 stages. So initially, in the first stage, they were basically told that وَمَا أَتَيْتُم مِّن رِبًا لِيَرْبُوا فِي أَمْوَالِ النَّاسِ فَلَا يَرْبُوا عِندَ اللَّهِ. That was the first verse that was revealed about riba. That what they take from riba, hoping that it will increase, it doesn't increase with God. And then it says about zakat, but zakat increases with God. So that was the first. In the same way that wine was prohibited, usury was prohibited, because the Sharia goes by tadarruj. It occurs 8 times in the Quran, the actual word riba, and this is, I think, one of the most fascinating ones. الَّذِينَ يَأْكُلُونَ الرِّبَا لَا يَقُومُونَ إِلَّا كَمَا يَقُومُ الَّذِي يَتَخَبَّطُهُ الشَّيْطَانُ مِنَ الْمَسِّ. So the one who is engaged in usury, he will not stand up except like the one who stands up to only be hit down by shaitan. This is a clear indication of the usurious boom-bust cycle. In the tafsirs, they literally say يَقُومُونَ يَنْهَضُونَ وَيَسْقُطُونَ. I mean, they literally use those words. The nahda, they have this getting up, like, and then boom, they're knocked down. And that's a boom-bust cycle that happens in usurious things. يَمْحَقُ اللَّهُ الرِّبَى وَيُرْبِ الصَّدَقَاتِ. Allah will obliterate usury, and He will cause charity to multiply. And now look at this. وَاللَّهُ لَا يُحِبُّ كُلَّ كَفَّارٍ أَثِيمٍ. I mean, that is terrifying, because it's saying that kufr and sinfulness are rooted in the taking of usury. So, a very important thing. And then it said, this is the last verse that was revealed about it, about يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. So now it's addressing the believers. اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَذَرُوا مَا بَقِيَ مِنَ الرِّبَى. So leave what has come from riba. And then this was in the middle stage, that they were told, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا لَا تَأْكُلُوا الرِّبَى أَضْعَافًا مُضَاعَفًا. Some have argued that this is actually about compounded interest, which Rothschild, I think, called the eighth wonder of the world. Compounded interest. So in this one, this has nothing to do with compounded interest. It has to do with the Murabi in Mecca would go at the time the loan, they were supposed to amortize the loan, he would go and they would say, Ajilni, give me some more time. And then they would say, then I'm going to increase it, ad'afan. So that's what it meant. It was basically not stipulated in the contract. It was renegotiating the loan. And then also, this actually ayah, فَبِظُلْمٍ مِّنَ الَّذِينَ هَادُوا, right? In the beginning of the verse, because of the oppressive nature of Bani Israel in their commercial transactions, and then it says that, you know, they will be صَدِّهِمْ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ كَثِيرًا, that they would like prevent from the way of God. And then وَأَخْذِهِمَ الرِّبَى وَقَدْ نُهُوا عَنْهُ, and taking riba, whereas they had been prohibited from taking it. وَأَكْرِهِمْ أَمْوَالَ النَّاسِ بِالْبَاطِلِ. And so this is again a really terrifying verse. So now this in the hadith, this is a sahih hadith. Like it's on the quality of al-Bukhari and Muslim. It's a sahih hadith. Riba has 73 doors. The lowest of these is like an incestuous marriage. And the severest riba is, it actually says in the وَإِنَّ أَرْبَى الرِّبَى عِرْضَ الرَّجُلِ الْمُسْلِمِ. So that's also about the honor of Muslims. People don't take the honor of Muslims seriously. The Prophet ﷺ said, إِذَا ظَهَرَ الزِّنَا وَالرِّبَى فِي قَرْيَةٍ فَقَدْ أَحَلُّوا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ عَذَابَ اللَّهِ. If riba manifests in a city, they have basically made it permissible for the wrath of God to fall upon them. And riba and zina will go together, because one is the collapse of the family, the other is the collapse of the society. And these are the two bases of a civilization. And then also, بين يدي الساعة يظهر الربا والزنا والخمر, that at the end of time, usury, fornication, and intoxicants will be widespread. The Prophet ﷺ said, a dirham of riba that a person earns, money, is more severe as a sin in the eyes of God than a man fornicating 36 times. So people say, how could that be? Because they don't understand what riba is and what it means for a society. The Prophet ﷺ said, and this is a miracle of the Prophet, the time will come when everybody would be devouring usury, and the ones that didn't devour it directly will be covered in its dust. Every time you use a credit card, there's a usurious transaction involved. Every time you put money in the bank, there's a usurious transaction. You're basically loaning, because it's not a wadi'ah. The bank, a wadi'ah is a place where you put your money and it's safe. They can't use it. When you put your money in a bank, the bank loans it out. They give the person putting it in their 4% interest, and then they loan it out at 6% interest or whatever the rate is. They always get more. And so this is another miracle of the Prophet. This is on the Isra. The Prophet ﷺ said that he saw people that butunuhum kalbiyut. And I guarantee you this is a miracle. There wasn't mortgages. Even though mortgages are quite ancient, there were not mortgages in Mecca. And yet the Prophet ﷺ saw men whose stomachs were like houses. And they were filled with snakes and, in a riwayah, aqarib, scorpions. And he said you could see from outside of their stomachs, you could see the snakes inside. And then he said to Jibril, who are these people? He said, akidatu riba. These are the devourers of usury. And that's, I think, a real miracle of the Prophet. I've already mentioned that. This is a very famous hadith, which I wish I could go into, but I'm running out of time here. This is probably one of the most important hadiths about riba. It's absolutely sound hadith. And it looks at dhahab bil dhahab, fidda bil fidda. These are what are called athman. And then the other ones are called urud. So there's a difference between price and between the actual good. So the price is what measures the good. Gold and silver measure goods. One of the things that happen, and so from that hadith we get two types of usury. The first one is nasi'ah, time-based. The second one is in this hadith, which is called riba al-fadl, quality-based excess. This is probably, I came to this conclusion myself, and then I found it confirmed by Abu Hamid al-Ghazali, which I was very happy to see that I actually thought of something that he thought of as well. But I really think this is a sumptuary law, but it's also a law that indicates the cutting off of usury, because a like for a like, irrespective of the quality, a like for a like. And this is why riba al-fadl is very important. A lot of people don't understand it. They find it very confusing why you can't trade 2 pounds of ajwa dates for 4 pounds of barhi dates. They don't understand that. What the Prophet was saying is that, first of all, the people that do that are people that don't want to eat lesser quality dates. So that's a sumptuary law. He's really trying to get people away from this excessiveness, that quality should not matter like that. So the wisdom behind the prohibition of usury, Fakhruddin says, taking another's wealth with no counter value. That's one of the wisdoms. Usury disrupts real work and the efforts involved. This is in his tafsir. So he says it disrupts production, commerce, and cultivation. Usury removes acts of altruism and kindness. The acts become acts of greed. So normally if somebody's in need, you should help them. Usury results in the rich taking advantage of the poor, creating division, class division, and animosity. Imam al-Haramain added to that, he's obviously before Fakhruddin, but he said the ruling is devotional because should any of these be removed, it would still be prohibited. So this is what's called ta'abbudi and ma'qul an-nas in usul, for people that might know something about that. Imam al-Ghazali reiterates Aristotle, basically arguing that it's an abuse of the purpose of money. So money has 3 fundamental purposes. 1, it's a means of exchange. 2, it has intrinsic value. Gold and silver have intrinsic value. And then 3, that it basically is a store of wealth, so you can keep it and use it for a later time. So he also says it engenders greed. Ibn Taymiyyah, I think, really hit it on the head, that he basically just said it's dhulm, because the Quran says, وَإِن تُبْتُمْ فَلَكُمْ رُؤُسُ أَمْوَالِكُمْ لَا تَظْلِمُونَ وَلَا تُظْلَمُونَ. And there's a qira'ah, لَا